Welcome learners in the series of videos on topology. We are looking at compact spaces. We have seen the definition of cover, open cover, finite subcover and so on, and then we have defined a compact when we say a subset K of a topological space X is a compact set or not. And we have seen some definitions and we have proved that if we have a basis for a topology on X, then K is compact if and only if every basic open cover has a finite subcover. And as promised in the last video, we will prove today that closed interval a comma b is as a subset of R with zero topology is compact. Okay, so for proving this, we will use list upper bound property and few other results. So let us take that as a theorem. Let us say closed interval a comma b is compact subset of R with usual topology. Let us prove this. Okay, and to prove that something is compact, we need to show that every open cover has a finite subcover. Okay, so let's move ahead. So to show that this is compact, we need to take a open cover for this. So let us take some open cover. Say B is equals to set of all U alpha belongs to I, B, and open cover for A comma B. Let us take an open cover for A comma B. We need to show that this open cover has a finite subcover. What is the meaning of open cover for this? That is, what we have is this A comma B will be a subset of the union alpha belongs to I is the indexing set U alpha. Okay, to show that we have this finite subcover. Okay, let me not write that. Let us write directly. Alright, so to show that this is finite subcover, let us take a set and we will use list upper bound property. Okay, so let us take a set. Say A is equals to set of all those elements in A comma B, set of all X belonging to A comma B. So we are taking this A comma B and we are taking all those elements in A comma B such that the closed interval A to X. So we are taking this X, right? This interval A to X is covered by finite number of elements of V. Okay, so let us take this set of all those elements X such that this interval is covered by finite number of elements of V. Our aim, or what we will do, is we will show that this B is also in this A. So of course, A will be in A and B will be in A. That means A comma B will be covered by finite number of elements of V. That means we have a finite subcover. Okay, and to show that, let us first prove that this A is non-empty. Okay, let us prove that this A is non-empty. So now since this V is a cover for A comma B, that means A will be, if this A is in this set, that means A will be in this one of this set, that means there exists some alpha A such that A belongs to that U alpha A. Okay, that implies there exists some alpha A belonging to I such that this A will belongs to U alpha A. Because A is in this set, it implies A will be in this set, and this implies A belongs to one of these U alpha A's. Okay, and what does this mean? This implies this A comma A is covered by U alpha A. That means A comma A is covered by finite number of elements from V, and hence A comma A is this. That means A belongs to A. Okay, so this implies, like the next page, this implies A belongs to A, and this implies A is non-empty. First part is done. Now also, if we have noticed here, all the elements in A are bounded by B, because you are taking set up all those x belonging to closed interval A comma B. That means this x will be less than or equals to B. Okay, so also, since x is less than or equals to B, for all x belonging to A, we say that A is bounded above. Right? What we have done is we have proved that A is non-empty and A is bounded above, hence it will have least upper bound, supremum. Right? Hence A admits a least upper bound in R. Right? Say, let us take that least upper bound, say C is equals to least upper bound of A, right? Supremum of A. Right? This implies what? This implies A will be less than or equals to C, right? Because A is one of the element and least upper bound will be less than or equals to this. And of course, it is B is the bound for that A, and least upper bound will be less than or equals to any other bound. So C will be less than or equals to B. Okay, this is done. Now what we show is this C, the least upper bound C is in A. Okay, and to show that we have to prove that this set, the closed interval A comma C, is covered by finite number of elements of V. Then only that C will be in A. So now our claim we claim that C belongs to A. Right? So we are proving that supremum of A is in A. Okay. Now from here we can say that C belongs to closed interval A comma B. And we know that V is a cover for A comma B, and C is in this set implies there exists some alpha C belonging to I such that this C belongs to U alpha C, because V is a cover for closed interval A comma B and C is in this set implies there exists one element in the cover such that C will belongs to U alpha C. Okay, now we have said that this is an open cover, that means U alpha C is open. So since U alpha C is open in R with usual topology, we know that there is a basic open cover, right? Basic open set. This implies there exists some R greater than 0 such that the open interval C minus R, C plus R will be contained inside U alpha C, because this is open and C is in U alpha C. This implies there is some R greater than 0. There is a basic neighborhood of C which will contain inside U alpha C by the definition of open set. Okay, so now since C is nothing but least upper bound of A, since this is a least upper bound of A, this implies C minus R, which is less than C, cannot be the least upper bound, right? So C minus R is not an upper bound, of A. So if C minus R is not the upper bound of A, implies there is one element in A which is greater than C minus R, right? So is upper bound of A, and hence there exists some element say x naught belonging to A such that C minus R is less than x naught, because this is not the upper bound, implies there exists some element in A which is greater than C minus R. Let us take that to be x naught. Now since this x naught belongs to A, as x naught belongs to A, and what is A? We have taken that A to be those elements from this A comma B which are covered by this interval is covered by finite number of elements. And now since x naught belongs to A implies A comma x naught is covered by finite number of elements, right? So as x naught belongs to A, we have finite number of elements. Say there exist say alpha 1, alpha 2, finite say alpha n belongs to the indexing set I, the cover, such that this interval A to x naught is covered by this finite number of elements, say I from 1 to n u alpha I. Okay, so now we will get the cover, finite cover for A to C. How? This way. We have A to C, and A to C is contained inside A to x naught, right? A to x naught is covered by finite number of elements. Union, also we have C minus R, which is C lies between C minus R and C plus R, right? C minus R to C plus R. So if you see this A to C, this will be contained inside this. And of course, we have proved that we know that A to x naught is covered by this. So this is contained inside union I from 1 to n u alpha I. This element is covered by this union C minus R to C plus R. And C minus R to C plus R is contained inside, go back, U alpha C. So let us write this contained inside U alpha C. Let us write directly. Union U alpha C. And also these are from your set V, the cover, and U alpha C is also from the cover. But remember, if we write just this, then we cannot say that this is covered by finite number of elements from V, because this is not from V. Okay? But in this case, we can say that A to C is covered by finite number of elements, and hence closed interval A to C is covered by finite number of elements of the basic open cover V. And therefore what we proved that if this is covered by finite number of elements, this implies C belongs to A. Okay, so next claim, if C belongs to A, if this C belongs to A, let us prove that C is equals to B. And if we prove that C belongs to B, C is equals to B, that implies A to B is covered by finite number of elements, and we are done. Right? We have proved that A comma B is covered by finite number of elements. So let us write the another claim. So claim C is equals to B. Okay. Now, as we know by law of trichotomy in real numbers, C is equals to B, or C is less than B, or C is greater than B. Now, of course, C cannot be greater than B, because C is the least upper bound and B is any other bound. So let us assume that C is less than B and see what happens. So suppose C is less than B. Okay, Now let us take some other elements, say x1 to be minimum of c plus r by 2 and b. Right? These are we have taken from here. Right? I'm not writing it again. If you want, you can write it again. Okay. So let us take x1 to be minimum of c plus r by 2 and b. Then of course c will be less than x1, right? Because x1 is the minimum of c. So if b is minimum, then this will be greater, and hence c will be less than x1. If minimum of these two elements is this, still c will be less than c plus r by 2. So c is less than x1, and this will be less than c plus r, because this is less than or equals to c plus r by 2, and that is less than c plus r. And also this x1 will be less than, because this is minimum, so this will be less than or equals to b. Okay, so this implies if you take this interval c to x1, because c is less than x1, we can take this c to x1. This will be contained inside c minus r, because c minus r is less than c. So c minus r to c plus r, and this is contained inside u alpha c. What does that mean? This implies a to x1. Why a to x1? Because already a is in a, that implies a to c. Already c is in a. We have proved that c is in a, right? C is in a. That means a to c is covered by finite number of elements, and c to x1 is also covered by finite number of elements. That implies a to x1 is covered by finite number of elements of V. So if this is covered by finite number of elements of V, this implies this x1 belongs to A. But if we say that x1 belongs to A, we see that there is a contradiction. So why this is a contradiction? To the which fact this is contradiction? This is, let us write on the next page. Sorry. This is contradiction. Why? Analyze. This is contradiction because as C is least upper bound of A, right? And C is less than x1. We have stated somewhere. Yeah, here C is less than x1, and x1 is also in A. That's a contradiction. And therefore, only choice what we have is C is equals to B, which belongs to A. This is a contradiction. This implies what we assumed was C is less than B. We got contradiction. C cannot be greater than B. Hence, by law of trichotomy, we say that C is equals to B. So hence, C is equals to B, and C belongs to A implies B belongs to A, and therefore, this closed interval A comma B is covered by finite number of elements of V. Okay, and therefore we have taken an open cover V, and we found that there exists a finite subcurve for that open cover, and therefore we can say that A comma B is compact. right? So what we have proved is we have proved that closed interval a comma b is complex subset of Ru. Okay. Again, let me take one just a remark, maybe out of context. Subset of a compact set need not be compact. Subset of a compact set need not be compact. Take an example, which is wherein you have a compact set and you take a subset of that compact set which is not compact. In fact, you show that it is not compact. Okay. So in the next video, we will show that every cofinite topology is compact. You take any topology which is cofinite topology, it is a compact set, right? It's compact space. Maybe a short video, but let us take that in the separate video, right? So till then, stay tuned and stay safe.